All right, this video is for Learning Target 6, day 1 of Learning Target 6. We're going to spend 2 days on this, so go ahead and turn to page 31 after writing in your page numbers here. Learning Target for this video, page 31, is I can write and graph equations in point-slope form. So we are learning the point-slope form, which is a different form than what we've been practicing lately here, which was y equals mx plus b. That is slope-intercept form, okay? Y equals mx plus b. Today I'm going to introduce to you a different form. It's very much related to y equals mx plus b, but it's just a different form, okay? In this video you're going to see how they're related to each other. So let's start out with what is point-slope form. I'm going to give you this form here. Write it down carefully. Point-slope form is this. It's y minus y1. It's not an exponent, it's a subscript, just like y1 minus y2 in the slope formula. And then it's equals m times, in parentheses, x minus x1, close a parenthesis. That is the point-slope form. Now this is the reason why it's called point-slope form. Well, the slope is the m. Just like in slope-intercept form, the m is the slope. The point is the actual y1 and the x1, okay? It's the one with the 1s on it. That is your ordered pair, or your point. Your ordered pair, okay? So that's your point. So you can, if something is written in point-slope form, you can gather the information of the slope and the ordered pair x1, y1. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if we can use this form here. How do you write an equation in point-slope form given the slope, the m, and an ordered pair, which is the x1 and the y1? Well, there's only one direction here, one step. You're going to substitute the m where the m goes, and the x1 and the y1, the ordered pair, into the equation, and you have written an equation in point-slope form. So let's go ahead and give this a try then. First one here. So notice we only care about the 3 spots in our point-slope form given the 3 numbers. You just have to plug them in the right place and you've got an equation. The other x and y, stay the x and y. They will never ever change at this point. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a try. We're going to have y, stays the same. My y1 is the 1 here, that's the ordered pair, the y in the ordered pair, equals my m, which is 7, parentheses, x stays the same, minus my x1, which is the 2 in the ordered pair. And that is it. You just wrote an equation of a line with a slope of 7, and it goes to the ordered pair 2, 1. It has this equation in the point-slope form. Okay? Let's try the second one. Slope of -2, ordered pair -1, 4. So y minus my y1 is the 4, equals my m, which is -2, parentheses x minus, and my x1 is a -1. Okay? Now notice you can clean this up. I have a minus and a negative. I'm going to stop, chop, chop, so I'm going to say it's a plus. So the better way to write this is y minus 4 equals -2, x plus 1. Now this is going to come up later. Anytime you see an equation in point-slope form and you see a plus sign in it, you know that this number is actually a negative. The original number is a negative. And the reason why is because in the original problem, in the original form, it's a minus sign. So in order to make that a plus, we knew that this was a negative, and those negatives, the minus and negative, cancel out to be a plus. Okay? Okay, let's try the last one. Slope is 5/3, ordered pair, 3 is -4. So we're going to have y minus my y1, which is a -4. My m is a 5/3. And then x minus my x1 is a 3. So same thing. I'm going to stop, chop, chop. A better answer for this, a cleaner version of answer of this is y plus 4 equals 5/3 x minus 3. And again, you see a plus 4 here. So I know the original point for the y was a -4 because the original form has a minus. The minus and the negative cancels out to be the plus sign. Okay, so that's it. Just have to know where to plug the 3 numbers into point-slope form, and you've written an equation in point-slope. Okay? Next part. Well, how do you graph an equation in point-slope form? Well, you guys should know how to graph an equation in slope-intercept form, okay, which is y equals mx plus b, because you see the y-intercept, which is the b, and then you can count the slope, which is rise over run. So here are your 3 steps on how to graph an equation in point-slope form. First step, you need to plot the ordered pair, x1, y1. Second step, you need to then count the slope correctly from that ordered pair that you first plotted to make more points. Keep in mind, slope is rise over run. And then the third, connect your dots. Okay, you have a whole bunch of dots for your line. Connect the dots to finalize that line there. So what I'm going to do here is, we have 3 graphs we're going to do. We're going to graph these all in point-slope form. We're going to graph them all on the same grid. I'm going to do graph 1 and graph 2 with you, and then you're going to pause and try graph 3 on your own from what you gauged from the 2 examples, and then check back. Okay, so I'm going to pull this down so we can keep referring to the information of point-slope form. So let's go ahead and see if we can follow our 3 steps here. Okay? First part, let's actually gather information here. So if I know this is in point-slope form, I know that I can pull a point and the slope from the actual equation. So I know my slope is my m. So my slope is 2/3. Okay, so horrible 2. Let's try that again. 2/3. And then I know my ordered pair is my x1 and my y1. Remember, the x comes first and then the y. So my x1 is the 3. And my y1 is the 6. So I have a point and I have a slope. My first step says plot the point x1, y1. Well, there's my 3, 6. I'm going to plot that ordered pair here. So I'm going to go over to my graph here, plot 3, 6. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's my first ordered pair. Second step, count the slope to make more points. Rise over run. So my slope is 2/3. So I'm going to rise 2, run 3 from the actual point I already have plotted. So rise 2, run 3. Rise 2, run 3. I'm going to keep going here. So I run out of space. Now I'm going to go backwards, down 2, backwards 3, and keep following this pattern here until I run out of space. And then I should have dots that are in order. Looks like it went out of order. Down 2 over 3, down 2 over 3. And they should line up. And do the best you can. Connect the dots. And let's label this graph number 1, because we're going to have 3 graphs on this. So you just graphed y minus 6 equals 2/3 times x minus 3 here. Okay? Our next step, because there's this space here, I'm going to show you how this is related to y equals mx plus b. We're going to take this point-slope form, and just like in the previous lesson, we're going to rewrite this in y equals mx plus b. Okay? So let's go ahead. Let's get rid of the parentheses set here by using distributive property. So I'm going to do 2/3 times x, which is 2/3 times x, minus 2/3 times 3. So I'm going to make this as 3/1. 2/3 times 3, so 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. 6/3 is 2, so this is going to be a 2. This side is still y minus 6. I'm going to undo this minus 6 by adding 6 to both sides. Keep in mind, step, chop, chop, that's a -2. Final rewritten for y equals mx plus b is the 6's cancel out. We're going to get y equals 2/3 x. -2 plus 6 is +4. So our y equals mx plus b is y equals 2/3 x plus 4. Now let's actually see if it matches our graph. Does this graph have a y-intercept of 4? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, it does. Does this graph have a slope of 2/3? Because this is mx plus b. Rise 2, run 3. Rise 2, run 3. Yes, it does. So you're going to notice this graph matches the m and b in the graph that we have, the equation, and we graph this from the information we gathered from point-slope form. So very much related, just rewritten. Okay, let's try another one. Drag this down so we can match up our information here. Let's go and get our information from our point slope form. Our m is our 4, so our slope is 4. We can write this as 4 over 1 so we can see rise over run. Our ordered pair, x1, so we have a 1 here. And our y1, notice we have plus 2. Now remember we just talked about this. In our regular form it's a minus. So in order to make this a plus, it probably was y minus a negative 2. This is why I stopped chop chop to be a plus. So this 2 right here is actually a negative 2. Okay? So we have our information. Let's go ahead and follow our 3 steps. First step, plot our x1, y1 on the graph. So let's go ahead and plot our first ordered pair. 1, negative 2. So 1 over to the right and down 2. And then our slope, 4 over 1. So rise 4, run 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Okay, and let's go to the back side. Down 4 over 1. Down 4 over 1. Let's connect the dots here. And we have the graph number 2 of y plus 2 equals 4 times the parentheses of x minus 1. Okay, let's do our last step. Let's rewrite this in y equals mx plus b and see if our m and our b actually match the graph we just graphed. So let's go ahead, distribute the 4. So there's 4x minus, distribute the 4 to the 1. 4 times 1 is 4. Keep the y plus 2. Let's undo this plus 2 by subtracting 2. Keep in mind this stop, chop, chop. That's a negative 4 there. Cancels out. We're going to get y equals 4x drops down. Negative 4 minus 2 is a negative 6. Okay, let's see if it checks out. Does this graph have a y-intercept of negative 6? 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6. Yes. Does it have a slope of 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 4 over 1. Yes. So the y equals mx plus b matches our graph. The graph came from our point slope form. All very much related. So what I'd like you to do is pause this video, give graph 3 a try, and then check back your answer with your answer by unpausing. So go ahead and pause here. Okay, you're checking back here. Make sure that you got the correct slope. The correct slope is negative 1. If there's no number in front of you, there's a negative sign, you know there's an invisible 1. So the slope is supposed to be negative 1 here. So in other words, it's negative 1 over 1. You can think of it as rise over run. The ordered pair should be negative 3, 3. Remember we talked about this. The x here is 3, but it's a plus 3, so I know it's a negative 3 because it's like saying minus a negative 3. Our y1 is a positive 3 because it's already a minus sign, so that original number here, 3, is just the original ordered pair, the coordinate point for that pair. Okay, so you're going to notice in the graph, I have the point negative 3, 3 plotted, this green point right here. And then we counted slope down 1 to the right 1. So it says has a negative slope here. Down 1 over 1 positive. Down 1 to the right 1. Down 1 over 1. And then the last step I wanted to do is rewrite this in slope-intercept form to make sure it actually, the m and b actually match. So if I distribute here, do this quickly. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x plus negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. And to undo this minus 3, we added 3 to both sides. And we ended up with y equals negative 1x. And negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So really we don't need the plus 0 if you don't want to write it. You don't have to. And we can see that this graph has a y-intercept of 0. Yes, it goes through the 0. And it has a slope of negative 1. Okay? So please do ask any questions to clarify anything that you don't get. Let's go ahead and flip over to the back side then. All right, so now we're going to go the other way. Okay, you guys graphed an equation in point slope form. Now how do you write an equation if I were to give you the graph? So it's the opposite of what we just did. Okay, so here are your 4 easy steps here. First step, identify what the slope is. Okay? If that means using the slope formula, or if that means actually counting slope on the graph because the graph is given. Step 2, you get to choose what ordered pair you want. Okay? And most of these problems, you're going to have 2 ordered pairs. Choose the one that works best for you. I like to choose positives as much as I can. 3, you're going to substitute the slope that you found and the ordered pair that you chose into our point slope form. So like I said, you only care about putting the right numbers in these 3 spots. And then 4, you're going to check your answer by rewriting it in slope-intercept form, like we've been doing here, like the previous lesson. Solve for y. Okay, so let's give 2 of these a try, and then I'm going to have you try one on your own here. All right, first step, find the slope. So it looks like it's a negative slope. Let's just count rise over run. So rise 2, and backwards 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like it's rise positive 2, backwards negative 4. This is the same thing as negative 1/2 is our slope. I'm going to just reduce it. Point. You can choose whatever ordered pair you want. You have 2 to choose from. Do you want to choose 0, 1 or 4, negative 1? It doesn't matter. I'm going to choose the ordered pair, 4, negative 1. If you're going to choose the other ordered pair, totally fine. In the end, everyone's going to get the same answer. Okay? Third, let's substitute my m in my ordered pair into y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. So this equation right here is going to fit this information. Now, if you chose the other ordered pair, 0, 1, you're going to get a different equation. Totally fine. There are 2 separate answers that you could get for this. So from my information, I'm going to have y minus, my y1 is my negative 1, so it's the same thing as saying plus 1, equals negative 1/2, parentheses, and x minus my actual x. So there's my equation in point slope form using my m in my x and y. Step 4, check by rewriting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this equation here. Okay? So I'm going to have y plus 1 on this side. I'm going to distribute this. Negative 1/2 times x is negative 1/2 times x. I'm going to stop, chop, chop this. Negative 1/2 times negative 4 is positive 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to minus 1, minus 1. And I'm going to end up with y equals negative 1/2 x. Positive 2 minus 1 is plus 1. And I know this is correct because I see a y-intercept of 1, and I see a slope of negative 1 over 2. Negative 1 over 2. So I know this works out. Okay, that would be my check. Now, here's the thing. If you chose the other ordered pair, okay, your slope should be the same. Your point and your equation will be different because you chose to go the other route, 0, 1, and your equation will be different because you chose different ordered pair. However, in the end, everybody's check, doesn't matter what ordered pair you used, is always going to come out to be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. Okay? So again, if you chose 0, 1, in the end, this check ends up to be the same. You should have the same slope as well. Okay, let's try the next one. Same steps. Find the slope. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. That's horrible. So 4 and 3. So our slope is 4/3. Okay? Ordered pair. I'm going to choose this ordered pair. You can decide to choose the other one. So I'm going to choose 3, negative 1. So this problem right here could vary from person to person, depending on what ordered pair you choose. Which means this piece right here is also going to vary from person to person, depending on the ordered pair they chose. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my m, my x1, and my y1 into my form here. I'm going to get y equals, not equals, sorry, y minus, my y1 is my negative 1. So it's the same thing as stop, chop, chop, so it's plus 1, equals my m, just 4/3, and x minus my actual x, which is 3. Okay, so everyone's equation might be different if you actually chose the other equation. Our check, though, in the end, everyone ends up to have the same check. So let's go ahead and distribute. 4/3 times x is 4/3 times x minus 4/3 times 3. So if I put a 1 underneath here, 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 1 is 1. 12 over 3. Sorry, 3 times 1 is 3. 12 over 3, this is actually going to come out to be just a 4. And then I'm going to minus 1 from both sides. This is stop, chop, chop. That's -4. And we're going to end up with y equals 4/3 x, -4 minus 1. This is going to be a plus -5. And let's check, just make sure it actually matches our graph. Does the graph have a slope-intercept of -5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry, 0, -1, 2, 3, 4, -5. Yes, it does. You can see it right here. The x is 0. There's your y-intercept. Does it have a slope of 4/3? Yes, I can actually see we already calculated that. Oops. So, like I said, everyone ends up to have the same check. So, I'm going to have you go ahead and pause this, give this third one right here a try, and then check back. Okay, so you're checking back here. I want you to check to make sure your slope is correct. You should have a slope of rise 4/2, which is the same thing as 2. I'm going to show you both answers that you could have gotten because it depends on what ordered pair you chose. The first answer is I chose the ordered pair 3-1. So if you chose that route 3-1, this is your answer for your point slope form. And then when you check it, you should end up with y equals 2x minus 5. Now if you chose the other ordered pair, which is 1, -3, your answer is going to look like this for your point slope form. Okay, notice it's a +3 because remember we have a -3 for our y here. However, when you rewrite this in slope-intercept form, you're going to notice you're going to get the same exact check as the person that had chosen the other point, y equals 2x minus 5. And you can see that these both are the same, and they work here too, because they both have that shows a y-intercept of 0, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see it's going to cross through -5 here. This graph keeps going through it. And they all have a slope of 2, rise 2 over 1. Rise 2 over 1. So, like I said, it doesn't matter which ordered pair you choose, you're going to end up to have the same exact check. Okay? Last one. There's no graph on this one, just the ordered pairs. You don't need a graph. If you have 2 ordered pairs, you should be able to follow the exact same steps. Okay, it's just going to require one more step, which means the m, you actually have to use the slope formula to calculate it. So I want you to go ahead, pause this, give it a try, unpause it, and you can check back. Okay, so you're checking back here. You should have all gotten the same slope of -3. Okay, now I'm going to show you both answers here depending on what ordered pair you chose. If you chose the ordered pair -2, 8, this is your route for your answer. This is your point slope form equation. And then when you rewrite, this is what you should end up with slope-intercept form when you check it, y equals mx plus b. If you chose this ordered pair, 4, -10, you're going to have this answer. This is your point slope form. And then when you rewrite, you're going to actually get the same answer as the person that chose the other point. Because remember, we talked about the check, everyone ends up to be the same y equals mx plus b. You started out with a different point slope form. Okay? So again, please make sure you're asking any questions if you're confused here. It's just a new form, but it deals with the same kind of information. Okay? So summary here, wrapping this up. I know this is a long lesson, but there's a lot of information to be explained and worked through here. Point slope form, make sure you have this written down correctly, is y minus y1 equals m times in parentheses x minus x1, close a parenthesis. Okay, so, and keep in mind, there's your slope, and there's your ordered pair. Okay, that's your ordered pair x1 and y1. So keep that straight there. And last summary, point slope, the form you just learned today, is always able to be converted to y equals mx plus b. Both of these forms are related to each other. They just come in different forms because each provides a little bit different information. Okay? So this stuff is going to take practice in order to understand here. Okay? And lesson is not good enough for you just to get it all. Practice, ask questions. That's how you're going to learn. Go ahead and get started on your classwork and check back on your answers. Good luck.